Hello everyone, I am going to demonstrate how to make a sourdough loaf. So as you can see right here, I am feeding my starter a generous amount. I'm using some good organic flour and purified water and just mixing that in to get the right consistency to where it's not too thick but not too thin. And then moving on, I did have to speed this part of the video up a little bit because it is pretty slow. So I'm just mixing all of my ingredients to start my sourdough loaf. And this was after my starter fermented for at least 6 hours. So here I am adding the starter. I've already added the water and the salt. I use sea salt, and then here's my good active bubbly starter. Then I will mix that in all together, and then I was instantly regretting wiping my finger on there because I now have sourdough starter. Try not to get it in the flour. So here I am adding my flour and just weighing all the ingredients out to the precise numbers. So that's what you see me doing here, is just being very meticulous in my measurements here. And then I will do a good mix-a-rooney here and get that dough all incorporated to where it becomes like a shaggy dough. As you can see, I don't like to use my hands to mix the dough, but sometimes I do. Here I am not using my hands, but it does get a little hard to stir there at the end. And then moving on to the first stretch and fold. So I'm dipping my hands in some purified water and doing a little bit of stretching and folding. As you can see, the dough is still pretty shaggy. It's not glossy or anything, but that's how it's supposed to be when you do your first round of stretch and folds, because the gluten is starting to develop at this point. And so that's why you're doing the stretching and folding. So that was the first round here that I'm doing of the stretch and folds. I do 4 rounds total. Sometimes I do 3. But I do start the stretch and folds about half hour to 45 minutes after I've mixed the dough in. And moving on, we'll go to the next round of stretch and folds. This is round 2. And as you can see, it is a lot more glossy. The dough is really getting that gluten developed good because it's hard to stretch it. And also, I'm not used to just doing one loaf. I normally do multiple loaves, so I'm just not used to it not being as big and pliable. So it's just a tiny little loaf. So here I'm just doing many stretch and folds, and then I just kind of tuck it in, as you can see. And then this round actually was the 4th round of stretch and folds. I forgot to video the 3rd round, but that's okay. So here the dough is really, really thick and the gluten is strong. It's really developing. As you can see, it kind of bounces back when I'm stretching and folding here. So that's a good sign that your gluten is really developed here. And so I'm just kind of tucking it in because it's really hard to stretch it and fold it at this time. So I just kind of tuck it in, tuck it under, and then it is going night-night for the rest of the day. Here is the end of the day at night, and I am getting ready to do some shaping and it's going to cold proof in the fridge. So I did have to speed this video up too because I do a lot of shaping here. Anyway, I'm just kind of laminating the dough and folding it, and then I will roll it up, and then I do several what's called the push-pull method, to where it tightens the dough, to where it can become more bouncy in like a ball. So I don't typically put them all in bannetons when I make them. Sometimes I do, depends on the size. I only have smaller bannetons, but a lot of times I just use a bowl with a towel that I have floured generously. There I'm slapping the dough to make sure it was nice and just like a good shape and bouncy. And 24 hours later, after it's been in the fridge there, I preheated my Dutch oven in the oven for 50 minutes at 450 degrees, and now I'm just sticking it in the oven to get it started. And pretty soon we'll have ourselves a delicious sourdough loaf. And then just like that, voila, it starts baking. And setting a timer for 25 minutes. After the 25 minutes with the lid on and then 20 minutes with the lid off, it is time to pull it out. And there you have it, folks. Look at that beautiful sourdough loaf. It will be delicious. I am quite sure of that. Thank you for watching.